Story 1. Eat in a calorie deficit every day. That is it. There is no trick or shortcut other than medication or surgery. Story 2. Eat healthy. Resist the urge to eat junk food and do not eat it. Follow it up with consistent exercise every day. It is a slow process and you might think you are not seeing any changes, but that one random day when you take off your shirt in front of a mirror, it will click in. You will be a step closer to your goal every day if you just follow a proper protocol. Story 3. Calorie deficit is the only way to lose weight. Make sure you are drinking enough water because your body needs water to break down fat. Adding resistance or strength training will help you build muscle. More muscle will increase your basal metabolic rate and speed up metabolism. Calculate your current total daily energy expenditure, minus 300 to 500 calories, and eat at that level. If you have a day where you eat more, that is okay. Get back on track the next day. Take your goal weight in pounds and multiply it by 1.5 or 2, depending on how much muscle you want to build, and eat that amount in grams of protein, or use a macronutrient calculator. Make sure to eat lots of fiber, both types, consume many whole foods, switch to sugar-free drinks, and avoid alcohol. Aim for 10,000 steps or a 30 to 45-minute walk per day, and weight train 3 to 4 times per week. Do this consistently for 12 weeks. Do not let the scale deter you. Focus more on how your body looks and how clothes fit. Take before and after photos. You are almost guaranteed to look like a different person in just 10 to 12 weeks if you follow these guidelines and are not already doing them. Story 4. I swear, just get a tumbler, fill it with ice and water, and replenish throughout the day. You would be surprised how often thirst is mistaken for hunger. Stopped me from snacking as much. Also, switch to diet soda if you have not already. Story 5. Stop eating so much. It is not hard, but once I realized that I was eating because it tasted good and not because I was hungry, losing weight became easier. Story 6. I did the whole Optislim Shake program for 6 months, went from 97 kilograms to 78 kilograms. I did not really change anything other than eating unhealthy food all day. Story 7. Become active in some way. It is good for mental clarity as well as physical fitness. Start off slowly and begin choosing healthy foods. This is not a magic bullet, but consistently making small improvements now can help with big improvements down the road. Rome was not built in a day. Story 8. Increase your heart rate. That is all you need. Eating less, exercising more, walking more, or any activity related to exercise is based on increasing your heart rate. Increase your heart rate. Story 9. Fewer calories in, more calories out. That is it. Everything else is tactics for managing hunger. Personally, fiber and protein really help keep me full. Then just enough fat so it all goes down smoothly. Story 10. I have lost a lot of weight in a few months just by counting calories and not exercising at all. Obviously, exercising helps speed up the process. Story 11. I tried a no-sugar deficit, and it was terrifying because I started losing fat from my face, which seemed to affect my entire body. Story 12. Get used to what you have to work with and focus on performance, not packaging. It does not matter what it looks like. What can you do with it? Function over fashion. Story 13. Just to add to the calorie deficit posts. Although you will lose weight eating anything as long as you are in a calorie deficit, there are ways to make it easier. Eat foods that fill you up more with fewer calories. The two main ones are protein and fiber. They will fill you up but are low in calories. There is a reason no one ever got overweight due to fruit. Even though it has sugar, it also has fiber to fill you up so you do not overeat. Story 14. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. Cutting calories will work for a while, exercise will work for a while. But if you lose the weight and then go back to old habits, you have nothing to show. Pick foods you like and eat them in moderation. Have your favorite unhealthy snack maybe twice a week, but in moderation, one cookie, not an entire box. Run a couple of days a week, or even go for a mile walk or a bike ride, but it has to be consistent. If you lose weight gradually, your skin will thank you later. Your skin will shrink with you over time, depending on how much weight you lose. Don't starve yourself. Make sure you eat. Fill up on proteins. My go-to foods are eggs and chicken. Be careful with protein bars that have high sugar content. It's actually very easy once you get into the groove. The better you eat, the better you feel, and you'll want to keep it up. Story 15. It is really simple. Get a count of the calories you consume and the calories you burn. If consumed calories are less than burned calories, you will lose weight. Story 16. Put a light dinner on a plate and take a walk when it is done. This stops the calorie intake and boosts the evening metabolism. Story 17. Cut out meals and snacks and do some form of exercise every day. A mix of walking and a 30-minute indoor routine works well. If you are starting from scratch as an obese beginner, you can lose around 14 pounds in the first month and roughly 40 pounds over 4 to 5 months by following the above, even when middle-aged. Results will vary from person to person, but this has worked for me. Story 18. Eat 3 times a day, spaced out by 4 to 5 hours. Do not snack. Eat minimal carbohydrates. Run in the morning on an empty stomach. Story 19. Eat a calorie deficit. Eat low-fat, low-sugar, high-protein, high-fiber foods such as avocados, fruits, vegetables, fish, and chicken. Be active by walking, running, playing outside, or jogging for 15 minutes a day. Establish your routine. Replace your snacks with almonds and an apple. Story 20. I'm currently on a nutritionist diet. Since the beginning of June, I have lost 7 kilograms. Breakfast, milk with coffee, a slice of bread, real bread, with low-fat butter. Mid-morning, a low-fat yogurt. Lunch, fish or white meat, boiled rice or pasta, salad or boiled vegetables. First afternoon snack, fruit. Second afternoon snack, low-fat yogurt. Dinner, same as lunch without the carbohydrates. No exercise because I have no time. No fried meals. I am never hungry. Good luck. Story 21. Think of food as a fuel system. Getting the right amount of vitamins and nutrients to avoid exhaustion is the way to go. Story 22. I lost 6 pounds in 3 weeks by consulting a dietitian and making a food plan that keeps me full and in a calorie deficit. Following that plan was easy. Story 23. Calorie counting and gentle exercise are important. However, the counting must be honest and accurate, not just an approximate record of what you ate. Have small bags of treats or popcorn so your treats are measured and controlled. Another helpful tip is to avoid clearing your plate. Leave the last mouthful unless it is dessert. You are probably already full, and you will not miss those 50 calories, but this practice can really help. Story 24. More fruits and vegetables. Less meat. It also reduces the feeling of not being full and decreases cravings for food. Strengthening and cardio exercises are important because there are 2 types of fat tissue in the body. I think the best is a full breakfast since it provides you with the energy needed for the whole day. Story 25. It has been mentioned before, but I will also say caloric deficit. You need to calculate your daily requirement for yourself. There are calculators available on the internet. Each will show a slightly different value, but it will be more or less the same. From this, subtract a few hundred kilocalories, but not too many. Too large a deficit will cause you to tire faster and rest more, for example, by sleeping during the day. This lowers your caloric need and eventually brings you back to the beginning. Determine the caloric value of your meals. For example, with the fitness application, you can start by calculating the caloric value of what you eat daily. If you end up with too many calories, subtract some ingredients or reduce portions. Then stick to it. Drink a lot of fluids, about 1.5 to 2 liters a day. Eat healthier. Less junk food, fewer animal fats, and less sugar. Avoid extremes. You do not need to adopt extreme veganism, for example. You just need to keep a balance. If you want to control your weight using a weighing scale, in my opinion, it is better to pay attention to measurements once a week or a weekly average, rather than daily measurements separately. Some days will be better and others worse. If one day the scale indicates a higher result than the previous day despite sticking to the deficit, that is not a bad thing. This just happens. What is important is continuity, process, and perspective. Story 26. You have to find what works for your body. While people are commenting here, Keep in mind there are different metabolisms. For example, I am a fighter and train very often, but I also eat 1 pint of ice cream on average every day, and I have never fluctuated in weight. I have a really fast metabolism, so it is really hard for me to become overweight or even gain a belly. However, I have some teammates who have to stay on a strict diet. So try things and keep what works. Story 27. Strength training, cardiovascular exercise, eating on a calorie deficit, and taking a glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist medication worked great for me. Story 28. I have been doing intermittent fasting combined with exercise and some dieting, but mostly just intermittent fasting. I only eat between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. during the week. The main benefit is that it prevents me from snacking late at night, which was a huge problem for me. Not eating until 11 can be tough, but it feels good to get hungry. It really makes you enjoy your lunch. I have lost a significant amount of weight, and my doctor said my blood work is much better than it was 9 months ago. He mentioned I might need to start taking medication. It works for me mainly because it is very simple. I am always wary of fad diets, but I cannot argue with the results. Story 29. Intermittent fasting took me from 311 to 182 pounds over 3 years. I have kept it off for over 8 years now. For me, it was the only thing that worked. Story 30. I think I have hit the jackpot, but it has only been since May 1st. I weighed 96.5 kilograms that morning, so that was my base weight. If I weighed 0.25 kilograms more the next day, I have to skip a meal. The same applies each day unless I weigh below 96.5, say 96.1 kilograms. That would become my base weight. So, if the next day I weighed more than 96.35 kilograms, 96.1 plus 0.25, I would have to skip a meal. I eat whatever I want, healthy or big, rich and hearty, depending on my mood. Some days I have a salad. I also do plenty of do-it-yourself work in the heat, which helps. I weighed 88.3 kilograms yesterday. I will probably have to skip breakfast a few days, but I will still have some nice meals. Having brunch around 11 and dinner at 5 works well. Story 31. For me personally, what really helped me lose weight and gain muscle is walking a lot, around 10,000 to 15,000 steps a day, and doing a 30 to 60-minute workout at home using body weight, a pair of dumbbells, and a bag full of books for extra weight. I also stopped drinking soft drinks and juices, avoided candy, and only ate dark chocolate. Story 32. Science means consuming fewer calories than you expend. That is the fundamental principle. Always burn more calories than you consume. Story 33. Eat less, especially carbohydrates. Eat plenty of fruit and vegetables. Drink plenty of water. Get some exercise. Story 34. Most people will tell you to eat less and move more, which is good advice but quite broad. One effective approach to eating less is to prioritize protein because it increases satiety and preserves muscle mass. To move more, dedicated exercise sessions are helpful. However, incorporating small activities like walking to your destinations, taking the stairs, and doing brief exercises throughout the day will also have a significant impact. Story 35. Intuitive Eating is a book by Evelyn Tribal and Elise Resch. It helps recalibrate your hunger and fullness cues, recognize emotional eating, improve your relationship with your body, and encourage movement for its own sake, not just to maintain a calorie deficit. This book changed everything for me. Story 36. Number of things combined is the best way. Decrease your food intake. There is a limit of calories at which your body neither loses nor gains weight. This is called total daily energy expenditure. It is a rough estimate but can be used and fine-tuned. Calculate your total daily energy expenditure, then subtract 300 to 500 calories and stick to that for a while. Weigh yourself every week and monitor your progress. If your weight is in a downward trend, meaning it is decreasing most of the time, you are good. If you maintain the same weight or gain, reduce calories further. Move more. If you work a desk job, walk for 5 minutes every hour. Walk to work. Ride a bike and enjoy nature. Go on hiking trips with others. Lift heavy weights. Lifting heavy weights has been shown to be as efficient for weight loss as doing cardiovascular exercises. Do both if possible, but do not do them on the same day. Fix your sleep. Get consistent 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Make a sleep schedule. Go to bed at the same time every day and stick to it. Rest and recovery from activity are very important for weight loss. Lack of sleep disrupts your daily cycle and hormones, and you will feel tired and unmotivated to exercise or move around. It is this simple. The hardest part is finding the courage to start applying these steps. Story 37. Eating right and exercising. Build muscle and include some cardiovascular exercise. Making small changes to stick with is probably more effective for some to break the cycle. Fad diets or highly restrictive ones may be healthy for some, but transitioning from unhealthy eating to a strict diet is not sustainable for most. Do you drink a lot of soda? Start cutting back. No more at work or during the day, only one with supper. Then reduce further to none with supper except for the occasional treat on weekends. This approach is much more manageable, and over time your old habit will disappear. Need to work out? Grab some weights and spend even 20 minutes lifting. You should start to notice a difference in strength and will likely increase the time you spend to get more benefit. Water, better food, exercise, and sleep. Change your habits, change your life. Story 38. Eat enough calories to maintain the weight you want. Go in incremental steps if you have more than 20 pounds to lose. Exercise moderately, including strength training. Story 39. Do the opposite of what helped you gain weight. No, seriously. Work a desk job and never move from your desk for 8 hours a day. Do the opposite. Eat fast food daily for lunch. Do the opposite. Come home from work and sit on the couch watching TV for hours. Do the opposite. Go to bed at different times and get less than 8 hours of sleep daily. Do the opposite. Drink a lot of coffee with cream and sugar, soda, or sweetened iced tea. Do the opposite. Story 40. Consistent sleep schedule and caloric deficit. Exercise is very important, but it does not help people lose weight or keep it off. Also, not drinking your calories is crucial. Weighing, measuring, and accounting for everything you eat is essential. Many people think they do not eat very much, but they are often shocked to find they consume massive amounts of calories each day when they keep track. Get used to feeling baseline hungry at first. It will get better. Story 41. Lots of vegetables and water, and a simple 10-minute exercise at home. That's it. I lost 12 kilograms in 2 months. No carbohydrates at all, very little fat. Fat and carbohydrate intake should be much less compared to vegetables, fruits, and water. Story 42. Calorie deficit. Your body needs around 2,000 calories a day to maintain weight. If you eat more, you gain weight. If you eat less, you lose it. That's it. Exercise is not really necessary to lose weight, though it has its own benefits. The hard part is feeling full on 1,500 calories a day. But once your stomach shrinks, that stops being an issue. I have been dieting for the past 6 months, and at this point, the problem is ensuring I am getting enough calories. I eat around 500 calories for lunch and probably the same at dinner, then have to find a whole extra meal's worth somewhere when I feel full. I find Huel works well since it is a convenient 400 calories at a time, but I often add other snacks depending on the day. Story 43. Change your lifestyle. If you do not exercise, find a form of exercise you can enjoy for its own sake. If you do not eat healthily, learn to cook healthy meals you actually enjoy. If your only motivation for healthy habits is to lose weight, it will be very difficult to stay consistent. Story 44. Find a way to create a calorie deficit that minimizes discomfort. The greater the discomfort, the less likely you are to maintain it. For eating, focus on consuming foods with high nutritional value compared to their calories and that provide a high sense of fullness. Include plenty of protein and fiber to satisfy your hunger. However, do not eliminate foods you enjoy that do not fit this profile. Just eat them in smaller amounts alongside lower-calorie foods. For exercise, choose activities you enjoy or at least do not dislike, and do them consistently. Consistency is more important than quantity or quality. This means engaging in some form of movement every day. If you do not feel like it, do a little. Building the habit is more important initially than establishing the perfect routine. Story 45. Eat less and move around more. You can try different diets such as vegan, ketogenic, or carnivore, but a diet usually means you will stop it eventually. Focus on eating healthier. Most people do not move enough. Go for a walk and try to do some strength training. Story 46. Eat soup. Eat salad. Eat less than what you usually do. Eat foods that help with digestion. Do stomach workouts. Story 47. Mindful and deliberate eating and exercise. My problem with diets, which may not be an issue for everyone, is that eventually I decide I am done with them and then I eat unhealthy food again. I am a snacker, but replacing chips with options like salted almonds or granola, nut, and chocolate chip mix has been much more satisfying and healthier. I still eat chips occasionally, but I no longer keep them stocked in the kitchen. Using a step tracker or smartwatch has motivated me to move more because I enjoy seeing the numbers increase. That said, I am in a privileged position because I have time to cook and meal prep for myself. Additionally, I do not have children. Overall, eating more nutrient-rich food, consuming fewer empty calories, and maintaining a baseline level of physical activity is, in my unprofessional and anecdotal opinion, the easiest way to lose weight by making small lifestyle changes, at least for my body. Also, drinking less alcohol helps. Story 48. All you have to do is consume fewer calories than you burn. Determine your basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of energy you expend each day by simply existing. If you eat below that, you will lose weight. Adding exercise will help you lose weight faster. Story 49. I would advise saving more calories for dinner. It helps me because I can manage through the day and have calories available at night. Story 50. Check out the subreddit Calories in Calories Out. I have lost approximately 19 kilograms since January this year. I am halfway there. Some days are better, some are worse, but the overall trend is downward. Story 51. It is actually quite easy. Eat fewer calories than you burn. Use an application like MyFitnessPal to track your intake. Walk 10,000 steps a day. It is best to get up and first thing in the morning go for a 5-mile walk. Incorporate weight lifting 3 to 4 days a week to help maintain muscle mass. Story 52. I would like to add, please check your insulin. I found out too late that I have hyperinsulinemia, so losing weight was always a struggle despite the calorie deficit and exercise. Because of this, I cannot take hormonal contraception or I gain weight easily. Years ago, I gained 20 kilograms because of this, the heaviest I have ever been. Story 53. Medical intervention, preferably via glucagon-like peptide 1 drugs. Medical science has proven that the body adjusts to lower metabolism rates, possibly permanently, every time you try to limit your food intake. You diet, lose a few pounds, and then your body goes into starvation mode. You stop losing weight. If you return to the same amount of food as before, your body stays in famine settings and causes you to gain even more weight. Your choices are 1. Never gain more weight than you want to carry through life, or 2. Fool the hormones that control hunger and metabolism into thinking you are not deprived. We do not have time machines yet, but we do have glucagon-like peptide 1 drugs. That is basically how they work. Signed, a person who, after depression caused extreme weight gain, could never lose a pound despite regular exercise and a healthy, reasonable calorie diet, now down 60 pounds thanks to medical science. Story 54. Calorie deficit is obvious, but is there any practical strategy? I have a few that work for me. 1. Replace high-calorie snacks with low-calorie options like lime and club soda instead of Sprite. Or replace low-calorie activities with higher-calorie ones like doom scrolling on the treadmill instead of on the couch. 2. Habit and social influence. Find a routine to reduce decision-making, or join an exercise group or play sports with friends. 3. Ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. You still need a calorie deficit, but these methods make it easier to achieve. For the ketogenic diet, I would include more vegetables and be mindful of saturated fat intake. Story 55. Count calories and walk. This is how I lost 100 pounds. I was 295 pounds a while back, and now I weigh around 195 pounds. Make sure you read nutrition facts properly. For example, early on, I would have 3 to 6 sausage links with a small amount of syrup. The links were about 180 calories for three, but three was too little for me. I ate 2 servings, putting me around 360 calories, plus the calories from the syrup. I tried to keep each meal around 500 calories. I only dieted for about 6 months and went from 295 to around 245 to 250 pounds. Then I started walking, and a year later I reached my goal of losing 100 pounds. Story 56. For someone who is trying to build confidence, this is what I would suggest. 1. Monitor calorie intake while aiming to consume roughly a 500-calorie deficit daily. Engage in moderate cardiovascular exercise 4 to 5 days per week for 30 to 45 minutes. Most people I have worked with or trained have the most long-term success with inclined walking for their cardio. I believe this is because mental fatigue and general burnout are much less with a daily incline walk than with gearing up for a big daily run. I suggest the workout typically called the December 3rd 30 treadmill workout. In other words, set the incline to 12 degrees, the speed to 3 miles per hour or whatever is most comfortable, and do this for a full 30 minutes. If you have the energy, follow this with a light 15-minute bike ride to cool down and burn a few extra calories at the end of your workout. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Story 57. Whatever the most sustainable way is for you to eat fewer calories than you burn. For me, I found that really slowing down when I eat helped me a lot to prevent overeating. So did smaller portion sizes and waiting a while before going for seconds if I still felt hungry. People will say move more, but that gets complicated, as our bodies tend to compensate for workouts by subconsciously slowing down energy consumption for the rest of the day. You just move less without really thinking about it. However, walking as an exercise tends to get you moving more without doing this so much and without increasing your hunger, which is the other side effect of working out. Weight loss is far more about food than exercise, though exercise is still recommended for many other reasons. Story 58. The best way to lose weight is not just a caloric deficit. The caloric deficit is the prerequisite to losing weight, but the best approach depends on you. These are the key ways to ensure a caloric deficit. 1. Figure out how to consume fewer calories. This involves creating habits and convenient solutions for eating high-volume, low-calorie foods. A good tip is to drink 1 or 2 protein shakes a day, as protein intake is an underestimated way to maintain muscle mass, increase satiety, and reduce the desire to eat calorie-dense foods. It may also help reduce thirst, making sugary drinks less appealing. Find an exercise you enjoy. There are no strict rules about what exercise is best. The important thing is to stay active. Try different types and stick with the one that allows consistent participation. Increase your general activity level throughout the day. Walking is underrated but should be done in a way that feels natural at first. Examples include taking the stairs, parking farther from the store, or biking when possible. The best way to build habits like these is to set achievable goals that feel realistic. If you want to exercise 3 times a week, start with 2. If you want to lose 20 kilograms of fat, start with 10. If you want to walk 8,000 steps a day, start with 6,000 to 7,000. Story 59. Zepbound is the only way I have managed to sustain weight loss my entire adult life. I am down about 110 pounds from my peak. Story 60. It depends on the reason you gained weight. Is your diet full of empty calories? Change what you eat and add fiber, protein, and water. Do you stress eat because of uncontrolled anxiety or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or something similar? Work with your doctor or a therapist for medication and meditation or stress relief strategies other than food. Are you inactive? Make changes, less television and computer time, and more physical activity. Start small if you have to. A lap around the house daily, then twice a day, then to the end of the block and back, whatever it takes to move more and sit less. There is no one-size-fits-all, though a healthier choice of foods with nutritional value, protein, and water, along with more movement, would help just about everyone. Story 61. I had a painful canker sore on the tip of my tongue. I could only eat yogurt and other soft, cold foods for about 2 weeks. It was difficult. Then I weighed myself and saw I had lost a lot of weight, which is unhealthy, so do not do that. It showed me that weight loss comes down to a calorie deficit, as everyone says. As someone who felt addicted to daily ice cream, I realized it's just a habit. All the foods we think we can't live without are mental. It's a mindset, so be mindful of what you're putting in your body. Although easier said than done, once you develop a healthy routine, you build momentum and self-esteem. You've got this. Story 62. Calorie deficit every day is generally the best rule of thumb. However, if you were someone like me who documented 3 years of eating 1,800 calories or less, including going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week with an average of 10,000 steps a day, plus an additional 3 months of documenting eating 600 calories or less, all with a weekly weight and measurement log, sometimes that just isn't it, and there is no logical way to explain why the scale hit 300 pounds at the doctor's office at age 28. I had many tests run recently by a new doctor who actually listened, performed my first physical exam since I was 18, and reviewed the documents provided. It turns out I have polycystic ovary syndrome without cysts and a liver 4 centimeters larger than it should be, a condition other doctors said was normal as long as I didn't have a fever. I started some medications for polycystic ovary syndrome 2 weeks ago, and I am down to 294 pounds. The math is finally adding up, and I am hopeful it continues. Story 63. Calorie deficit and exercise you enjoy. Be patient and consistent. The journey will help you grow mentally, and you will have an easier time keeping the weight off in the end. Story 64. Track your calories and macronutrients, protein, fat, carbohydrates, being more active during your day. More steps, more movement, for example, take the stairs instead of the escalator, try to get 10,000 steps, take the long way, etc. This burns more calories than going to the gym, believe it or not. In the gym, you can cycle or run for half an hour and burn about 200 calories, which is a lot of work. You'll burn more calories by just moving more. The gym absolutely helps. Don't think I am telling you to disregard it, but it shouldn't be your primary calorie burning focus. Use it to supplement your calorie burn, but mainly to develop muscle. Weight loss is approximately 80% diet and 20% exercise. Not a scientific number, but a decent rule of thumb. Story 65. A person comes to a doctor and asks how they can lose weight. Simple, the doctor says. Just shake your head from left to right. How much and when do I have to do it? Asks the patient. Every time someone offers you food, says the doctor. Story 66. This may sound crazy, but hear me out. Get a part-time job during the summer or any time, unloading and loading trailers at United Parcel Service. Be advised, it gets insanely hot inside some of those trailers during the day, with temperatures occasionally reaching 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. However, that only lasts for a few minutes after you first open one. They have a white opaque plastic roof that lets sunlight in all day, and the trailers may have been sitting closed on the yard for 5 to 6 hours. When I first started working there in 1997 loading trailers, I used to leave at night soaked from sweating so much that my shoes would squish when I walked, like I had been pushed into a pool fully clothed. It is extremely hard work, but you get conditioned to it. The best part was that I couldn't give up and quit like people do with a gym membership on January 2nd. You are basically made to stick with it and not quit because that's how you pay your bills. Also, it's only for 4 to 5 hours a day, roughly from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. So, there was no getting up at 6 a.m. still hungover or getting off too late to go out with friends. You will sweat a lot and you are constantly lifting light to medium weight boxes weighing anywhere from 5 to 40 pounds. It's a fast-paced environment, so you are basically doing cardio and low-weight, high-repetition exercises which burn fat quickly and also build muscle. You won't get bulky, you will get toned. Plus, you get paid and receive free health, dental, and vision benefits. If you decide to stay a few years, the drivers are very well paid. I started at $21.75 per hour when I became a driver in 2003. By 2009, I was making $28.85 per hour, bringing home $1,050 to $1,150 per week, and receiving 5 weeks of paid vacation per year based on 45 hours per week. Of course, there are some downsides, but overall, it's a pretty good gig. It may not be for everyone, but there's no harm in making some money and losing some weight. Story 67. Everyone here will tell you the answer is a caloric deficit, but what no one talks about is that carbohydrates are basically addictive. Good luck going cold turkey. What I did was go almost totally carnivore for about 3 weeks. I ate mostly fat-rich meat like pork chops, ground beef, and steaks. This allowed my body to detox from the constant need for carbohydrates. Then, I added some carbohydrates back in, starting with starchy vegetables. Eventually, I added bread and other grains. But see, that is where the trouble starts. The body immediately tells me that I need more food when I add those in. So it is an exercise in willpower and careful management. Story 68. Reduce sugar intake and always stay hydrated. Do not skip meals. Eat bananas and watermelon. Do cardio exercise such as jogging or walking around your area. Detoxify your body regularly and take deworming medication to eliminate parasites from your system. Story 69. Caloric deficit, consistent exercise, and steady-state cardiovascular exercise are important. Calories consumed versus calories expended. Story 70. Buy some kitchen scales, start counting calories, and eat more protein. Walk for 30 minutes a day. I am losing between 0.5 and 1 kilogram per week at the moment, using Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer as a coach. Story 71. Do not restrict yourself from food by force. Ask yourself if there is a reason to eat a particular food. Am I hungry or just bored? Can I eat it later? Also, try to choose healthy food when available and feel free to eat less healthy food at other times. Story 72. Fast all day and only eat dinner, then whatever you want until bedtime. Not ideal, but it worked. Otherwise, the biggest thing is to avoid overeating and to move or walk every day. Walking is very important. Story 73. Follow simple rules like drinking water regularly. Eat more vegetables. Walk about 10,000 steps every day. Story 74. You do not have to change your diet much. I lost 40 pounds over 2 years by simply eating slightly smaller portions and switching to unsweetened sun tea instead of soda at meals. Story 75. Carnivore is a very healthy way to go. I lost all my weight on the ketogenic diet. Both are very healthy and sustainable. What is not sustainable is the American stupid diet. When asked how it is sustainable, ask them, how is all that sugar and processed food you are eating sustainable? People are very ignorant. That said, there are many effective ways to lose weight. These are healthy options. Working out is a very healthy option and one of the best. Cutting all processed foods and refined sugars is a healthy approach. Eating within a 4 to 6 hour window and fasting for the rest of the day is also very healthy. These are based on my research over the years. I focus more on health than just quickly losing weight. Mindset has to change in order to lose weight and keep it off. If all you do is lose weight quickly, you are likely to gain it back. Story 76. Calorie cut, dirty ketogenic diet to control your appetite, moderate cardiovascular exercise like using an elliptical 4 to 5 times a week for 35 minutes. I was 6 feet tall, 254 pounds on December 20th with 40% body fat. Today, I am 180 pounds with 16.8% body fat. I have now stopped losing weight to start gaining muscle. My advice is to lose the weight before you start focusing on lifting. You will be much more motivated seeing the scale move every other day. Story 77. Find activities that you enjoy that are less harmful. The problem with dieting and exercising is that people do not have unlimited willpower. When you are not sacrificing anything, it takes no effort. These small, lasting changes compound into lifelong change. Story 78. Slowly. Although my technique was for gaining weight, it works equally well for losing weight. I have 1 or 2 low-calorie days a week, followed by 2 high-calorie days. I coincide my low-calorie days with busy days where I consume around 800 calories, mainly slow-release carbohydrates, some faster-release carbohydrates like sweets, and a small dinner. The next day, I have a lazier day and consume somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 calories. For weight loss, it is advisable to eat maybe 500 to 800 calories extra on those days. The rest of the week, eat pretty normally. Until I started doing this, I had severe weight issues and could not keep any weight on. My daughter's mother tried force-feeding me, basically, and I still dropped weight. She was very annoyed that my technique worked much better. The benefits of calorie restricting, which is different from intermittent fasting, are that you still get to enjoy calorie-rich foods and do not get the cravings that lead to yo-yo dieting. Moreover, although the low-calorie days are hard at first, once you hydrate enough and give your brain sugar, you would be surprised how much energy you end up having. We evolved as hunter-gatherers, so we were often hunting on the edge of starvation. Your body basically goes into hunting mode. This is not the Paleolithic diet, which can be questionable, but the idea has merit since our systems evolved this way, and lack of hunger is harmful. You are much more likely to keep the weight off if you do it slowly. There is no quick fix. It takes effort and persistence. Story 79. Eat healthy. Try to switch from white to whole wheat products. Cut sugary drinks like soda or fruit juices, and snack healthily. Get salad on the side instead of fries and use seeds instead of croutons. If you are used to getting an extra portion, start with half a portion and then another half if you are still hungry. People usually scoop more than they can finish and end up stuffing themselves. Eat slowly. It is okay to treat yourself with something sweet sometimes, but not every day. Have one cookie instead of the whole package or a bowl of chips instead of the whole bag. This will help you enjoy it more and reduce cravings. Remember, a cheat day does not mean you can eat as much unhealthy food as you want. Use your feet for transportation. Walk to the supermarket, school, or your job instead of using a car for everything. Walking after every meal is also good and will help you reach 10,000 steps a day easily. Do not be too strict with yourself with extreme diets or unrealistic goals. Story 80. Discipline. I agree with a calorie deficit, but please ensure you adopt a complete lifestyle change toward food. If you have an eating disorder, it is best to seek help. Otherwise, you need to change the way you view food. We have been taught by brands that we need to constantly be eating something, whether a snack an hour after breakfast or lunch. We have been led to believe that ultra-processed foods on our shelves are fine to consume in large amounts. Most of the time, the reason people are overweight is not their fault. It is their upbringing, surroundings, mental health, and lack of knowledge due to widespread misinformation. You need to start eating foods that come from nature, not those made in a factory. Once you change your lifestyle and perception of food, you will slowly start to lose weight. Eating satiating foods, particularly those high in protein, will drive you forward. Also, do not get too caught up in it. It is a marathon, not a sprint. If there is a gathering, go and enjoy it. Keep active. Even a 1-hour walk each day, combined with a clean and healthy diet, will help you see the difference. An easy swap for most people would be usual 2 Weetabix for breakfast with honey and yogurt, to 3 scrambled eggs with cheddar cheese and avocado, or make your own guacamole, which is very tasty. Smoked salmon with a few eggs, maybe topped with lemon and Parmesan cheese. Story 81. The best exercises for weight loss are increased overall activity with a mixture of fork put-downs and table pushaways. Seriously though, weight loss is, on the face of it, straightforward: eat less and move more. The application is tough. Try to find a cardio activity you enjoy, such as running, cycling, or walking the dog, to raise your overall activity level. Mix in weight lifting to become stronger at the same time. Eating less is a constant battle for most of us. If you move more, you can eat more and not gain weight. If you move more and eat normally, 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day, you will lose weight because your body has to use the calories stored as fat to function. Story 82. I lost about 100 pounds in a year by eating in a calorie deficit and prioritizing high protein, as well as quitting drinking alcohol. I still ate pretty much whatever I wanted as long as I stayed within my deficit. I didn't cut out sugar, fast food, or anything else. For the first few months, I tried to move my body and get my heart rate up for an hour a day. As long as it was for 60 minutes, that could look like going on a walk, cleaning my apartment, running errands, or going to the gym, which was rare. My life got busy for a period of time, and the move for an hour routine gradually stopped, but it was a great jumpstart for the beginning of my healthy eating and sober journey. This was the best thing I ever did for myself, and it changed my life forever. It took many attempts to do it consistently. It was hard, but it got easier. Story 83. I am thin genetically, but I really do not think there is much one can do. If you are hungry, you cannot just avoid eating. Humans can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. So, Try drinking more fluids and eating fewer solids, preferably sugar-free, even if it means dealing with some unknown artificial chemicals. Story 84. For whom? I tried almost everything in the comments section. It didn't work. Oh wait, it worked for a while. Then I felt deprived. Then I felt angry. Then I felt, oh, forget it. But the last time I did something different. I didn't even realize I was doing something. I started eating normally, having the things I had denied myself for years, but with a twist. I tried to feel if I was still hungry or done eating. This was new. Lest you think I was lazy, know that I walked every morning for 30 to 40 minutes and I swam about 40 minutes 3 times per week. I stayed the same weight for years. I was ecstatic. Never in my long life had I been the same weight for any length of time, let alone years. Then something else happened. I started to very slowly lose weight. 7 pounds 1 year, 5 the next, another 8 in another year. And I am convinced that is the only way for me to lose weight. I don't know about you. Story 85. When a person decides to lose weight, the first thing they usually say is, I need to go to the gym. No, you do not. You need to change your diet. You get fit at the gym, you lose weight in the kitchen. Starting to exercise can actually sabotage your weight loss because it makes you hungry and you might reach for high-calorie foods. Story 86. Keto always worked for me. It is actually pretty hard to get into ketosis. My first time, it took me about a month until I found the Carbohydrate tracker application. I learned about all the hidden sugars in our foods and how one unintentional mistake with food can kick you out of ketosis. Once in ketosis, you become a fat-burning machine, feel amazing, and it is great for your brain. Story 87. Intermittent fasting. I only eat from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. I eat anything I want during those hours. Outside of that 8-hour window, I only drink water and do not cheat with juice. I lost 5 pounds easily within 2 weeks. Overall, I have lost 20 pounds to stay at 140 pounds since 2023. I am a male, 5 feet 6 inches tall. Story 88. Cut the carbohydrates. They all convert to sugar. Cut the sugar too or limit it. Eat replacements instead, such as sourdough bread and coconut sugar. Drink more water and exercise regularly. After a couple of weeks, you will feel much healthier, have more energy, and sleep better. Fruit will taste sweeter than before, you will eat more and lose weight. Story 89. Eat less, run more, engage in dynamic weightlifting, regulate your sleep, eliminate refined sugar, and drink plenty of water. In short, practice discipline. Story 90. The most effective and expedient way appears to be Ozempic or one of those medications. The best advice for you is to avoid eating too much and to stay active. Story 91. What took me from size 16 to size 6? My job keeps me constantly physically active. I totally avoid dairy products, refined grains, and severely restrict candy, soda, smoked cured meats, greasy fried foods, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and McDonald's. My diet is between 88 and 98% strict vegan and zero dairy, zero trans fat vegetarian healthy foods only, high fiber vegetables, berries, herbs, spices, salads, cooked greens, 100% whole grain, peanut butter, tomato paste, fruits, beans, brown rice, and such, plus some eggs laid by healthy happy birds. Yes, I do occasionally eat small amounts of meat. I do not barf, starve fast, practice portion control, food rationing, consume unhealthy nasty stuff, force feed, or eat when already full. I avoid Atkins ketogenic diets and any such unkind, unhealthy, unfair misery. My job keeps me physically and mentally active. While I am never forcibly starved, I am sometimes too busy to eat. For over 4 years, I have maintained size 6, follow a flexitarian diet, engage in physical activity between 3 and 6 days per week, and eat food that tastes good. Yes, we autistic and anosmic people can be active, eat healthy, be useful full-time workers and friends. None of us are worthless. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.